Hey everyone, Tina Hogan Grant here with my Cuppa A Natter that I like to do twice a month on a Monday. I bring authors into my home. We talk about books, writing, and life as an author and whatever comes to mind. And this evening I have, here we go, Angela Christensen. I got it right. How are you,
Yes,
my dear?
pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. You know, I was looking at my calendar and you were on this show just over a year ago.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's been a year already.
Was it like was it April or May, I think?
May. So it
May?
was
Was it May? Yeah, May.
I know it's around a year. So how
Yeah.
fast has that gone by? Good Lord. So we're
Pretty
gonna
good.
I know, we're gonna catch up with you, find
Okay.
out what you're working on. But before we do that, let's can you just let our readers know a little bit about you?
Um, well, my name is Angela Christensen. That's my pen name. I generally go by Angie. And I'm from Iowa. And so I've lived here my whole life except maybe a couple years. So I lived in Maine for 4 or 5 months, and then I lived in a small town. I mean, I lived in Iowa, I guess, but I've lived in the same town my whole life, except for I would say not maybe a year away from my whole.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I haven't like been to a lot of places. I have 3 kids. I have 3 grandkids, and I started writing in 2019. I was a stay-at-home mom. I'm no longer a stay-at-home mom. So I was really bored. All my time was consumed by my daughter, who was a toddler at the time. And I felt like I needed to find something for me to do. And at the time, I was watching a lot of the Brenda Novak book group, and I started reading a lot. And so I guess it was my boyfriend who had encouraged me to start writing. And I just kind of thought like it was impossible for me to do that. And did you hear him? He said hello. So I tried it. He got me all the things I needed and for Christmas that year. And so I started Christmas. So December 25th, 2019. Um, and so I've written 2 books and currently writing my third. And so that's a little bit about me.
Congratulations, number one, on a boyfriend for giving good advice
Yeah.
and also for following your dream. You actually
Yeah.
you said you're gonna write a book. You didn't write just one, you're on your third one.
Yes.
So that's really,
So,
really cool.
and at the time, I didn't really think was like a dream, but I started writing. I really liked doing it. So it's something I didn't even know I liked till I started doing it. And
That's really cool.
so
I gotta say, you
I
look too
found
young to
it.
be a grandma.
What? Sorry.
You look too young to be a grandma.
Thank
What,
you.
3?
I'm
You got
45. So
wow.
yeah,
All
45.
right. I want to pause a little bit. We got people joining us, and just pop up some names. I know you're going to know a few of these people, so let's see who's
Yeah.
joining us. We have Elaine. She says
Okay.
hello, and
Lovely.
so she says my cousin's last name also. So I guess you have the same name as her cousin. And then we have Virgie Lane, and Karen Geeling is here. And Elaine says hello from Kansas. And then we have Belinda. Hold on, let me get Belinda up. There's Belinda. And we have Lori. Hey, Lori. And let me see. Hold on. And then Debbie Tyler is here. So, Angela, let's go back to 2019 when you first started writing, because I want to go through your writing process. And do you have a copy of the very first book you published?
Yes, it's called Returning Home.
Good.
And
Very cool.
there's,
Now,
yeah,
this was your debut novel,
yeah,
2019. I'm going to ask
yeah.
you first, what inspired you to write this book?
Well, I just kind of thought of a story. So I didn't really wasn't based on anything else I'd ever heard or like a movie or any other book. I don't know exactly. So it's about the main character is Joan, and she lives in Seattle. She's from Georgia, and she was 18. She left home, went to Seattle, and she roommates like for 15 years. She worked in an office job. Then one day on her lunch break, she decides she needs something new and wants to go back home. And she hasn't spoke to her family in 15 years, and they haven't spoke to her either. So it
Oh,
went both ways. And like it's been several years since I wrote that book, and I started thinking about my own life, and I think that there's certain family members that I've went years without talking to, but it wasn't necessarily about that. But there's a lot of similarities when I go through it, like, wow, that sounds really familiar, or but I never planned it out. And so I tried to come up with names that were original, that I didn't know any of the people. Like I tried to think, who do I not know with this name, or something that was very uncommon. So I don't want it to be about anybody or anything, just something totally different. So it's kind of a romance too. So I tried to write some suspense, and then I tried to write it out. And it's more kind of like a love story, and like finding she was like trying to figure out where she belonged in life, and she's like in her late 30s when she discovers this is what I need to do. And if it wasn't going to work out or fitting for her, she would just go back to Seattle and keep doing what she was doing. And so she does find love, and so there's a lot of heartfelt um, things I wrote into that. And she reunites with her grandparents and sees things from her childhood, and so it's very meaningful.
okay. So would you call this, other than a romance, like maybe family fiction, women's fiction? Is that the kind of
I
story
think
you put it in?
it could be both. I
Yeah.
think it could be
Okay.
maybe like, yeah, I suppose, like, I've never heard of family fiction, but yeah, I
Yeah.
think it was, 'cause it is totally about
Right. Family.
family.
Yeah. So family
Yeah.
fiction, women's fiction, and romance is what we got.
Yes.
Okay. Now, when you started writing this book, did you gave a great outline of the book. Now, did you plot the book at all, or you like me, you sit down and you wait for the characters to tell you the story?
That's how I do it. I wait for the characters to tell the story, and I don't think a lot of people understand that so much. And I've heard of people doing an outline, or thinking of the whole story. One author, I've watched stuff, like videos, and she'd say she gets her ideas from her dreams. And I find all this like really interesting, because everybody is so different, but that's what works for me. Like, I might not know what I'm going to write, and I sit down and my laptop, and it just flows.
Yeah.
All the
Sometimes it doesn't,
ideas come.
for me, it doesn't
And
flow
I'll take
sometimes.
notes.
When they're not talking to me, I get frustrated because it's like, come on, people, I'm here waiting. But for me, I'm totally character driven. I
Yes.
cannot plot a book for the life of me. I wish I could in some parts of the
Mhm.
book,
Yeah.
because there's things, and I know other authors have told me the same thing. There's things that the characters are doing that I really don't want them to do. But it's not my
Oh,
story.
yeah.
I have no say. If I try and
Exactly.
change it,
It flows through your fingers. It's
yeah,
like,
if I try and
um,
change anything, it just sounds, out of the norm in the story when you read it. So even though I don't like some of the things the characters do, we as writers, and if you're a panster, just got to go with it because we're telling their story. So
yeah. And like, I mean, in my second book, I did a lot more. I wrote a lot of things that, if the person, because it's more of like a psychological thriller. So, there were things that I thought, what, this is not like me at all. I probably wouldn't even watch a scary movie like this. And people are probably going to think I'm psychotic, but I'm not. And I feel like it all came together full circle, just kind of like all the little pieces finally came together. And
right.
then, like, in my first book here, like, I really tried to make it more meaningful, and like I tried to give each character their own personality, and I found that very difficult,
There
because
you
it's
go.
like you want them to be different people, and um it's just so hard to, and you don't want people to think that's you talking, so much. Like, I don't want people to think, well, that sounds like something she would say. The ones that know me anyway.
Character development, what I like about being a panster is, we start a book and we have these names, these characters. What I love about being a panster writer is they grow on you. You get to know them. You get to know the flaws. You get to know the traits. You get to know how they drink their coffee, what kind of car they drive. And after writing 2 or 3 books of the same characters, they're like real people to me.
Yeah, they are.
Character development. And like you mentioned with the books with a message, when I'm writing a book, and you might feel the same way, I don't see the message until I read the book again, because I'm constantly listening to the characters. But then after the book, I read it one more time, or a lot more times, should I say, many times. And then it's all of a sudden, okay, that's a cool message. And I want to see, like yourself, a message, a message for the reader, and whether they pick up on it right away or after they finish the book, they put everything together and go, wow, okay.
Yes.
The whole process.
That's what I like.
Yeah.
I don't believe it. What? Go ahead, sorry.
Go ahead. What were you going to say, hon?
I was going to say, well, I don't believe that I've ever read one of my books all the way through, but I might sit here and read like a couple chapters, and then I might go to a different part of the book, and well, I remember writing that, so I'm going to go over here and try to find it, and then I might read like, several pages, and then pretty soon I'm like, wow, like I pretty much have read the whole book by the time I get done, but I don't think I've ever, like, front to back, like, never done it.
What about doing editing? What about doing editing? What about doing
editing? Like, okay, so maybe I have went through, like, because, well, it's been a while, but when I'm on the computer before I actually, like, submit it, I go through it a couple times, I guess. So, but I usually use a program that does editing, but I go back through and make sure there are any lines or, like, any mess ups. So sometimes I don't necessarily read it, but sometimes I'm really glad I did. So with this book, I think that's what I'm going to do, both, because, I remember reading a sentence and thinking, wow, does that sound right to me? And like, I would never have found that if I didn't go back.
I'm in edits right now for my next book. And I think I read my book, I don't know, 15 times before it gets published. By the time I shouldn't say this, but by the time it's published, I'm so sick of that book.
Oh, I bet.
I love the writing, but it's like, okay, I need to start something new. But I'm doing the edits right now, and I'll read, and the way I'm doing it now is I do a chapter, I clean it up as much as I can, and then I send it to my editor, and she does the same thing. But before it goes to her, I read it out loud. That's the last thing I do.
Wow.
And when I read it out loud, you'll be amazed at what you pick up. Because if I have to pause in a sentence, or if I have to read a sentence twice, there's something in that sentence that's not connecting the words for me to have to pause. So little things like that is a tedious job. It has to be done. By the time the book is out in the book world, I'm done. But I do want to pause. We have a lot of comments that I'm just totally ignoring here. And that's why my eyes are like this, because all I've done all day is just look at the computer and do editing all day.
Oh, yes. I can't see any of the comments. Is that right?
I'm going to scroll back up. I saw some great comments that I do want to pop up. Let me scroll back up. Sorry, readers, for ignoring you, but I get into a great chat with authors, and I just ignore you. Hold on. Let me go back up here. I see some questions, but I'm going to go back to the questions. I see Karen's question. But there are some comments I do want to put up. Elaine put up this. She says, intriguing stories, sounds like a true story for so many today. Lori, I'm going to bring your question up in a little bit. And then we have author Sarah Butland. She says, we all really just want to find our place, don't we? And add real life and characters into our fictional pieces. I love that comment.
Yeah, that's nice.
So true. And she had another one down here that I want to pop up. Belinda says, your book sounds good. Another question from Lloyd. We're going to go back to the question. So hang on, ladies. Let me see. Hold on. Here it is. This is from Sarah too. I want to put this up. She says, total pants to here too. I have tried to force my characters into doing what I thought best, but it never works. It keeps me excited to keep going too. I say I write like I read a book. I love that quote. Write like you read a book. That is so true. So
Yeah.
true. Eager to get to the next chapter. Question regarding Sarah's comment here. When you write your book, do you pay attention to the length of your chapters? Do you have a preference on long, short? Do you care? I'm just curious.
I don't really know what is ideal or so, because I kind of just winged it with the first book. So the second book, I found that I understood a little bit more about what I was doing. So the first book, I believe they were like 14 pages in one chapter. Yeah, and I mean, I think it's because I've read books where they are that long. And then I think, like, in the second book, I made them a little shorter. I don't know that they're all the same amount of pages, though. This new book, I'm making them shorter, like 6-7 pages.
Yeah, I'm one that likes short chapters because what I like about it is as a reader, not just as an author, as a reader, I can read one more chapter. There's only 3 or 4 pages. And I keep saying that every time I get to the next chapter, and that's in my mind when I write the book. Like maybe my readers will read one more chapter. But I'm trying to keep mine below 6. I love short chapters as a reader. So I try and give what I like to my readers. Long chapters, I will like them if you keep me engaged for 15, 20, 30 pages.
Oh, yeah. Some books are hard to get through. Yeah. So I decided I wasn't going to do it that way. So they're like 6-7 pages because I like that as well, too. And it's easier to get through it, I think.
I agree. And then we got some other people joining us. We have Barbara here from Florida. I want to pop up Barbara and say hello. As I'm going to scroll, let's move on to your second book before we get to the latest one. So your second book, which one?
It's called When We Became Strangers.
Okay. And that came out when?
2022, February.
Okay.
Of 2022.
Now, hold that cover up one more time.
Okay.
Okay, the cover on that, what genre is this?
It's a psychological thriller. Or it could be under thriller or suspense, but I think it's more because there's a lot of twisting. Mind game, sort of,
Okay, so I'm of course I'm going to ask you, what inspired this book, and can you give us a little background to it?
Well, so the same thing, with book 1 as well, when I just thought, what would be a good story? Sitting here thinking I'm going to do this right now. I'm going to write the book. I planned to it took like 2 years to write Returning Home. So this one only took me 7 months. And so my daughter would take naps, and after she went to bed, I would stay up, and I didn't work. So I had all the time in the world, And so with this, I thought, what would sound good? What's going to catch people's attention? I wanted to catch people's attention, the story, more than the first book. So what am I going to come up with? And I almost changed it, and I started writing, and I became interested in what I was writing and got excited about it, so I continued. But it's about 2 college girls. Well, not college girls. They just graduated high school. They're going to college. One's rich, one is poor. And so they're best friends, and the rich one wants to go to college in Maine. She doesn't really need to. She has everything covered, and she wants her friend to go with her. So her friend is Cadence. So Melissa and Cadence, they go. Cadence left her boyfriend she'd been with all these years to go to college. And then Melissa's parents paid for their house and 5 blocks away, and they're super excited. They get there, and Melissa ditches Cadence. And so she feels resentment towards that. She feels lonely. She doesn't understand why she gave up her life for her friend who has nothing to do with her. And she feels like something is wrong. And so she tries to help her friend, but then one day Melissa comes home and I mean, I'm leaving out quite a bit, but anyway, she comes home and Cadence is gone. She has no idea where she's at. She never calls her family or her. She doesn't even try to find her. And so Cadence got back with her boyfriend, and she reconnected with her family, and Melissa has no idea where she's at. So 8 years later, she realizes I'm in Maine. I finished college. I have nobody. So she wants to find her friend. So that's when the real scary stuff begins.
It sounds
So
intriguing. It really does.
that's
Excellent.
good. Thank you.
Good. I like that one. Before
So
we get
then,
the book, I'm sorry. You got more to say? I'm sorry.
oh
Go ahead.
no, I don't. I'm good.
I don't want you to
Yeah.
give too much away.
Yeah, no, I'm all right.
Okay. I'm going to go to some questions real quick before we talk about that book behind you. So
Okay.
put up a few books, a few questions.
Okay.
Karen wants to. These are from a little bit earlier. Sorry for taking some time to get to the questions. Karen's asking, what do you do when you are not writing?
I work. So I work, but I don't like to say where it is because there's so many people out there.
Good idea.
Yeah, so I do that. I when I'm not writing, I'll read. I like to watch series like on Netflix and Hulu, and so I do like scary movies or a lot of Lifetime, Hallmark. So like around Christmas time, probably before Halloween, sometimes I'll start watching Christmas movies. Um, I like to read to my daughter.
Nice.
I participate in some of the school activities that she had, and sadly, the school she was going to closed forever because it didn't have enough students. Yeah, so she'll be going to a different school next year, and it was a very small school, and they just couldn't do it, even though they've been open for like 100 years. So yeah,
That's too bad.
so we did some things there. I taken some time off work to go spend time with her, and she kind of took it hard. And then sometimes I spend time with my grandchildren. Not a lot, not as much as I should, but or like today we went and we skipped rocks at a lake,
Fun.
and we went out in this field, and we were playing with this toy boomerang thing, and she really loved it. She was getting some sunshine and just being outside and no electronics. And she does have them, but try to stay away from them majority of the time. So I do things like that. Just try to come up with different ideas, hobbies, shopping, normal things like that. We're gonna try to plan a vacation. I'm not sure where we're gonna go, but we haven't been anywhere since 2020 when we moved to Maine, which we were planning to stay there, but we ended up coming back to Iowa. So, but we're just going to go on a vacation and come back this time.
You do.
So,
you totally do.
yeah.
Would you? It's been our last vacation. We went to Sturgis, and I think that's
really
2 years ago. So we're totally due for vacation.
Oh yeah.
A few more
I
questions.
thought about the Bayfield Apple Festival in Wisconsin. It's in Bayfield, Wisconsin, and that's in October. I kind of want to go to that, but I don't know if it'll actually happen. But
You get a booth at some festivals with your books.
oh, that would be
I do
nice.
them, and I love them. I've got one coming up this Saturday. I got a couple more coming up, but I love doing in-person festivals, whether it be a small, even farmers market. You'll be surprised.
Oh yeah. I'm a little nervous about doing it, but I thought, in my plan, like last April, I thought, well, I'll finish my book, my third book, and then I'll go and try to do that because I want to have all the books out there. So I'm going to try to really set a schedule to finish the book. And then I've even been talking to a certain bookstore about maybe having a book signing there. I've never done that before. So I think that would be fun. And once I did a few of them, I'd probably be okay with it, But
You'll be fine. We always got to get over that fear, and then we're just fine.
Yes.
It's fine. Okay, another question is from Laura Whitney is here, and she says, "Do you have any special events coming up?" That was just what we were talking about.
That would be the event. I mean, it's not planned out yet, but as soon as I get the third book done, that's when I'm going to really try to seek out where I can do these things. Like you said, like a farmer's market, or, even like.
Well, craft fairs are great because
Craft fairs. Yeah.
It's a craft.
A lot of readers. Yeah.
It's a craft. And they do very well at craft fairs.
I thought maybe a couple libraries or something, and maybe find a couple other like local authors and see if they want to like sit with me and have their books as well, and kind of do that.
Yeah, do a local author signing.
Yeah, I've thought about those types of things. Maybe like going somewhere like the Bayfield Apple Festival, or like here in Iowa, they have like the Tulip Festival in Pella. I don't know if you've heard of that. Yeah. And like that'd be somewhere, just little places like that.
For like a vendor's application or whatever, and there you go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what I do. I love them. I do.
Oh.
All right, one more question, and then we're going to talk about the other one. The question.
Okay.
Where is it? Okay, so Lori. She said, Lori Chaska. She wants to know, who are some of your favorite authors?
Okay, so Brenda Novak. I've read more books by Brenda Novak than I have probably any other author. Of course, I love the book that you wrote, Secrets Told.
Thank you so much.
So you're on the list. Thank you. That was a really good book. I liked it a lot. Who else? Viola Shipman. I've read a lot by Viola Shipman. Carol Goodman. I like Carol Goodman.
Good author.
Who else? Yeah. Let's see. Simone St. James. Let's see. I've read some Stephen King, but I don't really care for his endings too much. So I like Stephen King a lot.
A lot of his.
You've read a lot of his.
Now that I'm older, I just can't do horror anymore. I can't read horror.
Yeah.
I can't watch horror. I don't want to go to bed looking over my shoulder. So it's like I
noticed like as I've gotten older, I do watch less scary movies. I don't read. I mean, when I was like in my early 20s, mid 20s, is when I read his stuff, and like so now I want to read other authors as well. So
I want to
read most of his movies.
Happy endings, and everyone's happy at the end.
Yeah. So if I read a scary book, I like to read a nice book after that, like a happy, cheerful book, and then I might read another scary book or thriller or suspense, something like that, or like a mystery. What is that? It's like crime. Once in a while, I'll read a crime book, but not a lot. And I've been finding I'm interested in it. This is kind of odd, but maybe not so much. Thinking about like collecting vintage books. So do you remember like Nancy Drew, things like that? I kind of look at the covers and think, wow, I think they're really good.
That'll be
they're old fashioned
collection. Yeah, that'll be cool. I bet you can find a lot on eBay too.
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah.
Okay, I got a quick question from Elaine. She wants to know the name of the second book that you held up. She might not.
It's called When We Became Strangers.
What is it called?
When We Became Strangers.
When We Became Strangers. Okay, because it's backwards when I look at it. Now the covers, do you do themselves or you hire someone out?
Well, I have done the first two myself.
Wow.
And the third one I hired somebody to do it. Okay. So the third one back here, I was really happy with it. I feel like it felt like at first maybe I should just see what else they can come up with, but I really liked it. So I just pretty much is pretty close to what I wanted, what I imagined in my head. So I thought, wow, that's really good. Just from most people probably wouldn't even get it, So I really liked it, so I kept it. This one,
the third one.
Oh, what? Oh no, what'd you say?
The third book. What is the title of it?
Breckenridge Falls. There's kind of a glare here, but like There's like a light shining on it, but
There we go. That's good. Okay, there we go. Just
yeah.
for the rest of the chat. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But
There's a light. Sorry.
Falls. Let's talk about Breckenridge Falls. Number one.
Okay.
When did you start writing this one?
April of 2024.
Oh, just last year. You're good.
Yeah.
You're good.
So I am a little embarrassed because I feel like I should have had it done by now. And I naturally am a procrastinator, so I really have to like, kick myself in the butt to get me to do anything like that, especially when I get home from work and I'm tired. I have to cook and all the, real life things. So so I started it in April, and I might have I think probably maybe 8 chapters done so far. So when I do that, I'll go back each time, and because it isn't quite as far along, I will pretty much reread the whole thing so that I can remember exactly the little details I put in there so that I can continue and feel comfortable like I'm not missing anything.
Right.
So
now
that's
this
where I'm at.
book, you told me before we went live, is connected to book one, your very first book.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
Book one. So this is book one. Breckenridge Falls is book two.
Yeah.
Now, when you say book two, does that mean the story continues on, or is it the same characters, but their story in the next book?
Well, it does have some of the same characters. There are some new characters in the second book. The story continues, but this is not a thriller, psychological thriller, but Breckenridge Falls is. So that's kind of something different.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're 2 different genres in the series.
The same characters continue on in the next book?
Yeah. So basically what happens in Breckenridge Falls is it starts out 5 years later from the ending of returning home. So 5 years later is where it starts out in the second book. And then it just continues to what their life is like today. Yeah, after the 5 years.
Are you going to give the series a name so the readers will know?
Well, I don't know, because I think I'm going to end it after book 2. So I don't think I'm going to go on to make it a trilogy. So, because I want to do something totally different. Like, it might not even be a psychological thriller. I think, I don't know, I've got like a couple ideas. One, possible Christmas book. Not sure if I want to do that though yet. Or maybe, I don't know, I have a couple ideas that I've thought of. I just have to decide what I want to do. But yeah, it's going to end after this one. So I don't know.
So you got to do.
I mean,
it's a duet. Is what it
a
is.
duet. Yeah. So I don't know if I can name that or if I even should. So
that's entirely up to you. It's entirely up to you. But it is a duet if you're going to stop after 2. So
if I did, I probably would think I would call it well, I know I can't really. We'll probably use like the last name that their last name. Like I can't give it away, but
no, don't.
Yeah. But it would be like whatever their last name would be when it turns into whatever it's going to turn into. Series.
Okay, there you go.
Like not like the clan, but like like her maiden name is Marcus. So, if that says anything. Yeah. So you're like the Marcus duo or something like that, or family ties. I don't know.
That's something I was curious about, so readers would know the 2 books are together. That's what I was.
Yeah. So I'm the copy I have here. I don't believe says it because the cover was changed on returning home. So I mean, it can be purchased, and it's strange because when I published Returning Home, the cover, I believe I changed it a little bit myself. So I did that through KDP on Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I also changed the back a little bit. So when people buy it, it's not going to look like this anymore. But I think I put on there book 1. So when I publish this one, well, I don't know, does it say that on there?
No.
I think I can make it say that.
Yeah, but you've put some kind of duet name underneath it so they know book 1
that they're connected.
Yeah, I would, just to get readers. Let's see. And then speaking of duets and series, Belinda says, have you thought about writing a series beyond a duet?
I did think about writing one when I wrote this, but like even when I read a series, so the longest series I read was like 6 books, and it was the Evelyn Talbot series by Brenda Novak. But then I've read other series, and like it might be like 5 books, and about 3 I stop because I feel like I keep reading the same story over and over, and by that time, I want to read something else. So I feel like I probably could eventually, write that 3rd. But this, I mean, I guess it could be called a series. I don't know. So like, oh, this isn't it. Sorry. Oops. So anyway, like I feel like if I could write the book shorter, then I would be more interested. If I could think of something really that I really liked and the books were shorter, then I definitely would try to do that.
Yeah.
But I'd have to get super excited about it.
Maybe your characters will let you know. If they won't shut up, then that's how I so. Okay, we're gonna pause for a little bit because we're gonna have a treat and have you read to us. So,
okay.
Are you ready to do that?
Yeah, I'm gonna take a drink first, though. If you don't mind.
Go for it. I've been talking your little ear off. I'll take one too. I love reading.
This is always fun because I don't know if I'm gonna choke myself out or not. Okay, anyway.
All right. So you're gonna read from which book?
From Returning Home.
Okay.
So book 1. So Returning Home, and I'll start with chapter 1.
Perfect.
And it might sound to me when I read this, and I go back and I read like part of my second book, I feel like it just sounds so different. Like junior high. Sorry. You know what I mean? Like it was my first book. I had no idea what I was. So it just sounds real funny to me. Other people, it might not. Okay, so I'll start if you don't mind.
Go ahead. It's all yours, my dear.
Okay, Returning Home, chapter 1. Okay, Joan was sitting at her desk thinking about her life. Joan asked herself as she looked around at her surroundings, is this really where I want to be? My life has become the glamorous mess and not the beautiful picture I dreamed about since I was young. I suppose everyone reflects from time to time with mixed emotions, but no, they must carry on with her work life. Joan stopped thinking and decided she would go to the cafe around the corner from where she worked. It was time for her lunch break, and she was mighty hungry. Martha Dunn made the best cup of coffee and had owned the Hummingbird Cafe for nearly 30 years. Joan felt a little closer to home when she had days like today. If she felt the need to leave the office for lunch, Martha greeted Joan as she entered the Hummingbird Cafe and always had a smile that made her feel like she was welcome. Well, hello, Joan. Great to see you on this bright and sunny day. Martha, it's always a delight seeing you, and I'm so glad it's sunny after all the rain we have had this past week. Monday seemed to be the hardest days for Joan, but not as hard as battling her own thoughts about her job and if this was where she wanted to remain in her life. Joan rarely verbalized her contemplating thoughts with others, but going to the Hummingbird Cafe made her feel better than she did, and she knew she would feel this way about just about with any job or place she lived. Martha walked around the counter with a menu and a glass of water to take Joan's order. Can I please take your order, Miss Joan? Yes, Martha. I will have the chicken salad with extra pickle and a side salad. I would like a cup of coffee with cream and sugar. I always appreciate a nice lunch and the peaceful atmosphere. When I come here, Martha, it's nice It's a nice break from the office. Joe and I understand the rat race of the city, and if I can bring something simpler to comfort folks, well, then I have succeeded. They both smiled as Martha said, Miss Joan, I will be back with your order shortly. Joan waited at her booth, looking out the window, watching the people stroll by and cars going past. She noticed the bird's nest on the light pole next to the nice bench made of a beautiful stained wood with black arm rails for people to sit and rest. She instantly became so happy when she decided she is content. When she got back to the office, she would ask Mr. Ramon for her vacation time as soon as he would allow her to take it. Mr. Ramon was a short older man in his late 50s, never making his exact age known to anyone. Mr. Ramon liked it, or Mr. Ramon liked it that way because he could still sport his black toupee and mustache. It made him feel young. Mr. Ramon was also Joan's boss of 15 years. Martha arrived with Joan's order, noticing she seemed so much more relaxed than when she first sat down at her booth. My, oh my, Miss Joan, you look as 5 or 10 years slipped from your face, and you only sat down 10 minutes ago. Joan looked at Martha, slightly giggling. She said, Well, I have realized there are happier places in the world besides Seattle, Washington. And for me, I'm setting out to find something I should have done a long time ago. Joan took a sip of her coffee, not too hot and not too cold. As Joan looked up at Martha, she said, There may be places I'm going that will make me happier, but your coffee is the best around, and I'm not going to find that anywhere, and I haven't yet. Miss Joan, thank you for the compliment. My mama always said hospitality was best served with a warm cup of coffee. There are some days when you're looking for something you can't find it, might be closer to your heart and home. We just need to be able to see it. Joan knew what Martha was telling her. She loved how Martha always brought things to light. It was one of the reasons she loved going to the Hummingbird Cafe. This place would always remain one of her favorites as long as Martha Dunn was the owner. Walking back to the office, Joan dreaded speaking with Mr. Alleypants. Oh, she met Mr. Ramon. He was not always the nicest person, especially employees to employees when they wanted time off work. He was a little bitter man that expected his coffee as well as his files in front of him as he sat down in his office chair. It really was not her job or anyone else's, but it made things easier on everyone if one of the front row employees sitting in the cubicles did the deed with enthusiasm, as though they waited their whole life to bring him his coffee and files he needed. Betsy and Thomas rotated weeks, and if by chance they had to come to work Saturday, Melinda filled in, but also had to order and bring his breakfast to him. Joan organized her desk after returning to the place she knew best and thought, it's now or never. Hang on tight, because she feared she would get a scream, a whine, or a slammed door. So there's a little bit of that.
Very nice. Very. When was the last time you read that chapter?
Oh, geez. So I would say probably last year right before I started writing Breckenridge Falls.
Okay, I'm going to pop up some comments from your reading. Connie is here. Hey, Connie. And she says this book sounds really good. And then we have Carla says, I'm very interested. Karen says, okay, Karen, where are you? Karen says, Karen, I just saw you there. Where'd you go? Hold on. I'll get you there. Oh, that's Connie again. Okay, all right, let me go up. I'm going to try this again. Okay, we got Barbara. Thank you for reading. Lori says, I loved your reading. Here's Karen. Let's see if it'll come. No, that's Belinda. Karen, you keep jumping. Hold on. I'll try and get you, Karen. Belinda says, sounds good. I really want to read it. Okay, I'm going to click on Karen and see if I can get her up. She keeps going away. Karen, just stay still. I'll get her. Okay, here we go. See if I got Karen. There she goes. Can't wait to read it. Had to put that up there. Thank you so much for reading this. So that is book one.
Yes.
Leisha's here. Hey, Leisha. And she says, I love your first chapter. It sounds great. Barbara says, thank you for the reading. Okay, let's go back to book two. You said you're
Okay.
on chapter 8. Elaine.
Yeah.
Elaine's. I'm popping up comments as we talk. Thank you for reading to us from Elaine. You're on chapter 8 of Breckenridge Falls.
Yes.
Do you have any kind of release date for the book?
I don't really have a release date. I haven't really put one on it because I was going to, but I'm like scared that I'm not going to make that deadline since I'm, self-published. So I'm going to say like right now, let's see, I would like to have it done at least before October. That's kind of my goal. So I have, sometimes it's easier. I've got a calendar and then my phone. So a lot of times I'll just put write for 2 hours, write for 2 hours. That's what I've been doing. It seems to work a little bit better than
Discipline
So
yourself.
yeah, I've got to make it happen. So I feel like that would be a good time. I mean, because if you look at the cover back here, so I had the cover done like a month in to writing it, and I thought, oh well, that'll really just make me want to write, and it really didn't. Somewhere in there, I had kind of a funk where I didn't feel like doing it, and so, but I have this, and I'm gonna fulfill that, and I think it looks like fall colors to me.
Yeah, it looks great. It looks like
Yeah, so I feel like
Yeah.
if it was to come out in October or even before, I think it would be fine because how like in the stores and different places they always have their Halloween stuff and autumn stuff out way before October, and I don't know that it'll be in a store available. It's so different because I don't know that I'm going to go through Amazon for this one. I don't feel like I should. I feel like that I might at the last minute I might change my mind, but I kind of want to try Ingram Spark.
Well, you can do both.
I can publish it on both.
Mm-hmm. You can do
Oh,
both.
I didn't know that.
I'll help you in the email me when you're ready. But
Okay.
a brief rundown is you have your paperback on Amazon, and normally if you want to go into Kindle Unlimited, then you have your ebook on Amazon. Okay.
Yeah.
But you also go into Ingram and just do your print. And that print is the one that all the bookstores, it's the core catalog of all bookstores or whatever. They can go online to Walmart, they can go to Barnes & Noble.
So they'll see it, they can order it.
Yeah, and that is the distribution for extended distribution. So you can get both. You might have thought because if you're in Kindle Unlimited that it applies to paperbacks. It does not. All my books are KU. I've tried going wide, but KU works for me. You have to try both. I didn't give wide enough time. I don't know. But the print is in both. It's in both because I want my books to be beyond Amazon.
Yes, I want to get as many places.
So if you need help, how to set that up, just message me or email me.
Okay, thank you. I really appreciate that. So like that would be awesome because sometimes I do get stuck and like it's going good, and then there's like this roadblock and I notice I couldn't get past it, and so that would be awesome if you would help me. Yeah. So like returning home, I was the first one I published, and I noticed it's in a lot more different places. If I look it up, I'll find it like at BAM, like Books A Million. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I didn't know if they had them in California, but
is in the KU or the print.
Oh, that's the KU of it.
I mean the Kindle, not the print.
Oh, Kindle.
It's the Kindle that's in BAM, right? Or is it the print?
I'm not really sure. Like, I don't know. When I look it up, like if I were to buy it myself, it shows it like it's there. Now, I thought, well, maybe I'll just call them and I'll say, hey, do you have this book in your store? Is it possible for you to get that book in your store? And then if it's not, just to see if it's there. Because I feel like if I order a book off like Barnes & Noble's or any other bookstore, it's probably on their shelf. But I might be wrong. So it might just be online but it's not Barnes & Noble.
There's millions of books out there, and Barnes & Nobles can't put every book on their bookshelf because what you want to do is get in that catalog. So
That's
anyone can go, like any of our readers can go to their Barnes and Nobles, their local bookstore, and say, "Hey, I want to order Angela's book." If you don't carry
right.
it, they will order it through the catalog, and they can pick it up in usually 4 days, 4 to 5 days, depending
That
on
would be nice.
the shipping thing in that town. But you want to get yourself in that core. You can go online, being in that catalog, and your book can be ordered through Walmart, can be ordered through Target.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
That's what I was wondering next week because a lot of traditional authors have said it's really hard to get your book into Walmart or Target
well, it
and
isn't
those
not on
places.
Amazon. I mean, the physical books, yeah. For us
Yeah.
as an indie author, to get your physical books into Walmart is not an easy task.
Yeah, that would be
You can. I have mine in Barnes and Nobles local, but to get
really.
into like Walmart or something, you've got to be with a big five publisher or a big publisher.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So
But even to
that's
have it out there where people hear about it.
Yeah, and that's the decision you need to make on what journey you want, whether you want to go through a publisher,
Yeah.
self-publishing. I like self-publishing because I want to be in control of my books.
Oh yeah.
I tried the publishing route and I couldn't do it.
You couldn't do it.
And Elaine had asked a question, but I can't find it. She had asked if your books are in Kindle Unlimited.
I don't well, I'm a guess that maybe they are. Well, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
So if Elaine can
Because I went to
I don't
KDP,
think
but
they are. I think you're just on Kindle.
probably. I
Not
know you can get them like through. Well, see, that's what I was going to say. I forgot. I got distracted. But like with this one, it's like all over. Like it's well, not as many places I'd like, but the second book, I can't find that anywhere. Like I can't on Amazon. Maybe
Amazon? Is it on
what?
Amazon?
Yeah, it's on Amazon. They're both on Amazon, but like the first one, for some reason, reached all these other places. Like there's a couple bookstores in the UK, and like, oh, I can't remember what it's called, but some bookstore, and it's like the biggest bookstore in like Portland, Oregon, and I think there might be a branch in Chicago or New York. I found it there. What was it?
Sweet.
Yeah, so like but the second book, it's just like Amazon. There might be like a couple small little, but it's not at Barnes and or BAM like the first one is. So I feel like the first one reached more places. So, but it did sell more copies. So I don't know if that made a difference.
It could.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So
And
I
then
just
Lori had I think this is a suggestion, trying your public libraries to get your books in too.
so I did that like at first when I first like 2019 when I published this one, or not 19, 20, I think it was 21, 2021 when I published this, May of 2021. So I contacted tons of libraries in my area and like bookstores and like emailed and tried to reach out myself. And so it is in a handful of libraries. But then I got tired, so tired of calling and talking. And then like some of the libraries, like some bookstores, which I find kind of ridiculous, want you to go through this big, big, long process just to get your book through the door. And it's like, I don't see that they're not a publisher. They're not, it's just a bookstore. So not that is, I'm not trying to minimize that, but they have their reasons, I suppose. And some libraries are like that too. And then they have to select whether they feel like your book is okay. And then other ones are like, yeah, sure, we'll put it in there.
Yeah,
And it's like,
it's a tedious process. It really, and a lot of footwork. A lot of footwork. It is. Well, this chat is going by really quick. It's always a joy to talk to you. But before we wrap it up, if you can tell the readers about the giveaway.
Okay, so I'm going to give away, well, I think I'll give that bookmark too. The first copy, so there's book 1 and book 2. So book 1 is Returning Home. And then book 2 is Breckenridge Falls, which isn't out yet. So I'm going to give away the first book. So it's going to follow the same storyline. It's just going to like continue it. So it picks up 5 years later, and it has some of the same characters, pretty much all the same characters, and then added some new ones in Breckenridge Falls. So they'll be in that book too, but you got the backstory from this. So even if you don't win the giveaway, you can still purchase this on Amazon or maybe a few other places if you Google my name or the title together, and you can get it wherever you choose if you're interested in knowing what happened before Breckenridge Falls.
Awesome. And you get the bookmark too?
Yes, and I had that bookmark here and I misplaced it. But it says, I love books, and it's red and white. And I don't know what I did with it. Sorry about that, but
that's okay. That's okay.
It does. Okay, well, it does come with a bookmark.
Okay, and this would be shipped directly from you, signed?
What?
It'll be
yes,
shipped.
an autographed copy. And I kind of want to send this to somebody too. I'm not trying to advertise any books.
If you want to do 2 giveaways, that's entirely up to you. You want to do 2?
Yeah. Yeah. So the second one is The Woman in the Library by Solari. I don't know how to say that. Gentel or Gentel. See,
how about I just put book 2?
Okay. There we go.
Book 2. And that's a paperback. So
my book's a paperback. This is a hardback.
Oh, that's a hardback.
Yeah, that one's a hardcover, and this one is mine is a. But if the winner wants a hard copy, I can give them a hard copy. So I'm more than willing to, whatever their preference is. I don't have a hard copy. I prefer paperback. So I mean, I ended up with this and this hard copy, but most of my books are paperback. So I'll be able to get one though that is hardcover because I'm going to put an order in. So I'm going to do that. And so if they choose with the winner, whoever wins, and they have the choice of paperback or hardcover. So.
Okay, because the hardcover would take a while to get to you.
What?
The hardcover would take a while to get to you.
Oh, well, I've never ordered one. Yeah. So I didn't know that. I'm learning a lot from you. That's great, though. Yeah. So I like that a lot.
Yeah. Okay, so this would be U.S. only. I'm not going to have you ship out of the U.S. because it's expensive. And I'll go ahead and pick the winners for you. And what I'll do is I will tag you in the group, and I'll tag you on my author page. Okay. And then I will have the winner. What's the best way to contact you to give them their information? Messenger or email?
Probably the email, because for some reason I can't get messages from you. I don't know how to look at that.
I have your email. I'm going to forward it when I don't want to just put it out there. Thank you. I'm going to do regular giveaway, which is a $5 Amazon gift card. And all you need to do is share this video in as many places as you like. The more you share, the more entries you have. Please tag me when you share this video so I know that you shared it. And I will be announcing the winner the same time as I announced Angela's winners. And Angela, as always, it's been a joy.
Thank you for having me on your podcast.
Anytime. I'd love to have you back when this next book comes out.
Yes.
So back you on the calendar. Good luck with that and keep us posted. And if you have any last words for our readers, I'll hand it back over to you.
I appreciate everybody that's watching that showed interest in my books. And thank you so much. And I think that's all. And I recognize some names on there. So.
All right, people. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us. Again, my name's Tina Hogan Grant. You can check out my website at tinahogangrant.com. And I will see you back in the group. And I'll announce the winners in a couple of hours. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you.